want your business to go to another level, you must try to learn and hear something new. So make the change today. So don't procrastinate and see your business grow and change. So check out Testing Results, yeah, with Tony Harris Taylor. Tony Harris Taylor. Testing Results, oh yeah, with Tony Harris Taylor. Yeah.
Welcome to the Marketing Strategies for Drastic Results show. My name is Tony Harris Taylor, and I am your host. I am the CEO and founder of Drastic Results Marketing and Sales Coaching, where I teach entrepreneurs and franchise professionals how to get known, get connected, and get paid. Who wants to be paid out there? I'm also a multi-unit franchisee with Network in Action, where we bring business owners together to help them to market and grow their business through connections, collaborations, and intentional referrals. Welcome to today's show. Today's guest is a franchise consultant, and her name is Lisa Linkowsky. And we're going to talk to her about why franchising might be a great path to entrepreneurship. But I want to tell you something. I've been an entrepreneur now over 30 years, but I had been an entrepreneur almost 30 years when the first time the word franchising was mentioned to me. And I'm like, franchise? That's chicken, burgers, Subway, and storefronts. I don't want that. And someone educated me and said, no, there are franchises in almost every industry you can think of. And there are home-based, low-cost, part-time franchises. I was blown away. I had no idea that all of this existed inside the world of franchising. And so fortunately for me, I was introduced to franchising by another franchisee of Network in Action. But I just thought it was a shame that no one had ever mentioned to me that franchising was a possibility, even as an add-on business to what I was already doing. And a lot of people think it's a lot of money, and sometimes they are, but there are low-cost franchises out there. And when you build a relationship and a connection, sometimes the franchisor will work with you on the investment. There's so many reasons to consider franchising even before you start to build your own brand. And listen, let me say this, taking it from someone who's built their own brand, you're going to spend the same money. You are going to spend the same money building your own brand when you could buy into a system that is already ready already. So our guest, Lisa, is going to tell us about her journey into being a franchise consultant. And then she's proud of the fact that she likes to talk people out of franchising. And we're going to talk to her about why is that. And you're just going to learn a lot from her. And I'm super excited because she's got infectious energy too. So we'll be right back with my guest, Lisa Linkowsky.
Are you a franchisor grappling with how to stimulate your franchisees' growth and revenue? Are the phrases, "I'm not comfortable networking," "I'm an introvert"? Enter Tony Harris Taylor, your answer to these challenges. With her expert guidance and program, you can empower your franchisees to conquer networking and community outreach. Tony's program is designed to equip your franchisees with the skills and confidence to show up to the right events with the right people. It goes beyond making connections. It's about nurturing and leveraging these relationships. It's about following up, collaborating, and generating leads and referrals to maximize conversions, and ultimately increase revenue for your franchisees and for you, the franchisor. Are you ready to unlock this potential? Reach out to us at 832-479-2088. Let's embark on this journey of growth and success together.
All right, welcome our guest, Lisa Linkowsky. How are you today?
Hey, I'm in the Queen's den here. Thank you so much, Tony, for having me.
I'm so glad you are here. We were recently introduced. We had a one-to-one, made a instant connection, and here you are. So in your own words, tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my company is Milestone Franchising, and I'm a franchise consultant, broker, advisor, whisperer, whatever you want to throw at me. I represent over 500 different franchise concepts, work across the country, have clients that are international as well, and helping them to explore this crazy world we call franchising and what is it, and more importantly, what it's not. And, really going through and understanding and giving an understanding to people, because there's a lot of misunderstanding out there, Tony.
So tell me your story, your journey into becoming a franchise consultant.
Yeah. So 10 years ago, more than that now, 10 years ago, I was at the trite crossroads in the cliched crossroads in my career. And I ended up finding out about a franchise that was a flexible, low cost concept. My background's marketing. It was a marketing concept. And I fell in love with it. And I didn't know it was a franchise when I sent my resume to them, and they came back and said, "We're not hiring, but would you be interested in a franchise?" And it was over the phone, and I wrinkled my nose and I said, "Franchise?" Cracks me up, because I knew what a franchise is, just like you were talking about. Like, I knew, but I didn't know anyone that owned a franchise. Like, it was a very magical, mysterious kind of thing out there. And lo and behold, I said, when I found out what it was, and I understood what it was, I said to my husband, if I don't check this out and give it all its full due attention, because it literally landed in my lap, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. And so I became the first franchisee in a system. And then I went on to become a multi-unit franchisee in there as well. And I then helped to mentor and coach a whole bunch of people that came in. And then our whole system went down in April 2020. Overnight, basically. I had a business, everything was going beautiful, and then boom, I no longer did. And
wow, wait, that can happen in franchising?
Of course it can. Yeah, you are not in control. When your management system, things go down, the whole thing can go down with you. And that's what happened. And and I was planning the following year to sell my franchise. And I had thought, if I can help people in this business and I can help them to understand it better, that's going to be my next act. I never knew that it was going to be in the throes of a pandemic, without the safety net of the sale of my previous business. And once again, I went to the husband and said, "Hey, I have this calling. This is what I need to do." And he said, "Go for it." And here we are almost 4 years later.
Gotta love the husbands that say, "I don't know what this girl is going to do, but go for it." I love that. I love that. So, okay, let's have this real conversation. Not really. I thought franchises were foolproof.
There's no such thing as foolproof in business ownership, Tony. Risk is risk, and it does not matter whether or not it's a franchise or it's not a franchise. I will give this example, and it's not mine. I did not create it, but man, it is the best example I can give. That business ownership is like a big, long tunnel. And you've got to get through that dark, murky tunnel. And there's rats, and there might be a train coming, hit you, knock you right through. And it's dark and it's scary. But then there's light at the end of that tunnel, right? Franchising shortens the tunnel. That's it. There's still a tunnel. There's still risk. There's still danger. You still might get hit by a train, but the light at the end of the tunnel is just shorter. And I think that is a great way to explain it.
I really love that illustration. That is a great way to describe it. And there's lots of brands out there. I won't call any names, but there's a lot that used to be when I was a kid and a young adult, and they don't exist anymore. So what is a person to do if they're going to choose a franchise system? How do they know which one to choose, and what are the probabilities of them being successful?
So I find the biggest dangers is exactly the technology that's out there for all of us, right? Where you've got this glut of information that's out there, and it's almost too much. And people think when they go on the internet and they start typing around, well, I'm going to find what I need, and all the answers are going to be there. But they're only finding what's being shepherded for them. They don't know the underbelly. They don't know the underside. They don't know any of that. And so they're just clicking around, but they just don't have any idea of what else is there. And it can be very, very, not only confusing, but also very dangerous for them. And there are vultures out there, and they're ready to pounce, and they're ready to, pull you in. And, you got to be careful. And so working with a franchise advisor who, this is what I do all day long. I live and breathe this all day long. I'm reading the trade mags. I'm attending webinars every day. I'm going to, conferences, talking in masterminds with other consultants across the country so that I can stay on top of this industry where the regular average Joe or Jane cannot. And that is what I try to say to people. Like, even when I go to some of the big franchise conventions and you see these people, all romantically looking around, and I'm thinking, what's catching their eye? Is it because it's bright? Is it because it's shiny? Is it because they have some kind of food that smells good? But meanwhile, they don't know anything else. They just are kind of wandering along and hoping that something works out. And that's a very low probability, quite honestly.
Yeah. Well, when you and I met, you said, Tony, I talk more people out of franchising than I do into. So why would you do that? First of all, you get paid only when you place somebody. So why in the world would you do that?
So it's important to note that I do not get paid by the client or the candidate. They don't pay a dime. The Federal Trade Commission has ruled that we get paid through something called a franchise fee, and it's a commission, and that's only when they get placed within a system, right? And you're right. Why would I do that? Like, that's crazy. However, it's not for everybody. Just like everyone should not own a home, everyone should not go to college, everyone should not own a business. And when people come to me, I start asking questions. And sometimes I feel like I'm, the referee at the Super Bowl, and I'm calling flag upon flag upon flag. And I'm like, holy cow, like, this person should not be doing this, because it becomes so evident to me for a myriad of reasons. It could be financial. It could be that they just don't have the grit that's going to be needed. It could be they don't have business development skills. It could be that they're going to argue nonstop in the system because they think they know better. It could be so many different reasons, right? And I'm like, time on the clock. This cannot continue. And I explain to them why. And I tell them, listen, someone out there will sell you a franchise. It's not going to be me. I am strongly recommending that this is not the way for you to go. And then I say, if you're out of work, I'm like, here's some great recruiters I network with, or here's a great career coach for you to speak to and start maybe trying to figure out what that next act is for you. But this is not it. I also have an assessment that I give called a Zoracle assessment. And that also backs up my feelings. And once I see that, I'm like, oh, yeah, absolutely. No, I had the right gut instinct. You
don't want them to fail. And you don't want them to say, Lisa put me in this thing.
and then I'm getting my name scorched across the earth. No, I don't want that.
Okay, very good. So describe then who's a great candidate for franchising.
Okay. So I always listen for someone that says, I always wanted to own my own business, right? They've got that itch, that entrepreneurial itch. And it's not just because they found themselves in a precarious situation one day and now they're panicking. No. They always felt this and life got in the way, or that comfortableness of being in corporate America kept them wrapped up all nice and tight, like a nice little cocoon, right? And then one day they're like, I don't want this anymore. I really want to be on my own, but I don't have my own concept in mind. I don't have my own business in mind, right? Franchising is great for people like that because someone else has gone through the blood, sweat, and tears of proving out a concept and showing that this is something that can be replicated. And now you come along and you learn everything about this business, and now you take it on and make it your own. And you now are hoping to flourish within this, whatever this is, right? So really, I look for people like that. I like them to have good business development skills because most franchises, especially the younger ones, if you build it, they do not come. Like you've got to really build that. You know, networking queen right here, you've got to put everything into it. So if you don't have that business development piece, that's really kind of concernable to me. There's other stuff that can easily be taken care of, your finances, your marketing, like that kind of stuff. But that business development, and you have a whole thing about if you're an introvert, well, how do you get out from underneath that? Some people can't. Like some people just can't.
Some people can't.
And some people they can, and with your help, they can get better. Yeah. And then the other piece of it are people that are serial entrepreneurs and they want to add to their portfolio. They don't want to start something else from scratch. They want to add something in. They don't want to do real estate. And so franchising is a nice way for them to go as well. So those are usually the two arenas that I work most in.
Awesome. I love it. And while you were talking, I wrote down a name of someone I think you need to connect with right there in your state. Okay. So I think that's worth a conversation.
Always networking, Tony. Always networking.
I can't even help it. Like, why am I thinking about this other lady because you said something that triggered something I remember from the conversation.
And if we don't write it down, it never happened.
Well, that part. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to ask the two questions I ask most of my guests. We'll take a quick break and be right back with Lisa Linkowsky. All right, we are back with Lisa Linkowsky of Milestone Franchising. So my first question is, how has networking helped you grow your business? Now, you alluded to how important it was, but you personally, how's it helped you?
So in my franchise, I will be honest, and don't hate on me, but I didn't network. in my other business. I was working with restaurant owners. They're not on the networking circuit. They are busy, on fire 700 times a day. And so I didn't do any networking in that business. And then when I switched and pivoted into creating my own business, dealing in the consultancy space, I went, oof, I've got to start networking fast and quick. And in October 2020, the world had already turned into this whole virtual space. And I was like, this is fantastic. And one person introduced me to the next person, and that person told me about this networking group, and that person told me about this one. And before I knew it, I was in Networkers Anonymous saying, I network too much and please help me because I'm doing too much now. But it was wonderful. I was networking. I was doing one-on-one, 300 one-on-ones. That's an hour, 45 minutes to an hour a year. That doesn't include all of the groups that I was part of. That was one-on-ones. And so networking has been incredible for me because I get to work across the country, as I said. So virtual networking is everywhere. And then I'm part of my Chamber of Commerce, and, I do that. And then I go to in-person events, in the tri-state area.
So you and I are twins. I knew it. Because I do about 300, I do 30-minute one-on-ones, but I actually tracked it last year. I did 400 30-minute one-to-ones. But the virtual world, that's a gift, right? And it's paid off. It's opened doors for me. Though every 400 person does something for me? Absolutely not. Guess what, though? I probably did something for 400 people. I probably did. Because that's just what I do. But it takes that. And listen, it's that or cold calling or knocking on doors. And ain't nobody trying to do all that. So
no lead gen for me.
Yeah. So, okay. The final question is, what's the biggest drastic step you've ever taken in business?
So it would be
or life.
Yeah, or in life. When I left corporate America and I went out and I went into the franchise world, that was the most drastic thing I've ever done. And it was I'm very control oriented. I'm very I know my path, the whole thing. And this turned me upside down. And it was exactly what I needed. I didn't realize it at the time, but it was exactly what I needed. I came up, Tony, in the corporate world in manufacturing and in the 90s and the aughts there. And when I became a franchise owner, I felt that I was on a level playing field for the first time in my career. For the first time, I felt as a woman that I was equal to the other people around me. And I had never felt like that before. And that was so important to me. And it was so exactly what I needed for that next level in my career. But man, I was scared to death. I woke my husband, that same one that said, you go and you do what you got to do. I woke him up during the middle of the night once. And I'm like, are you going to leave me if this whole thing fails? And he was like, you're lucky it's Saturday morning. You're going to be fine. Go back to sleep. And I was like, oh, okay. But it was a drastic.
I got to meet this dude. I have got to meet this dude.
I'm a third generation business owner. And so I already had seen from my family firsthand how difficult business ownership is. And I wanted nothing to do with it. So the fact that I ended up going right back into that fire, that was drastic. It was a big thing, but I wouldn't have it any other way, way.
I love that story. I hope to meet your husband one day. So I know I'm going to meet you in Boston later this year,
yes, you
at the very least, and maybe in Florida. So I am so grateful that Matthew, shout out to Matthew Cancino, who introduced us. And I'm grateful that he did. I feel like this is going to be a long-term connection. So tell everybody, if they're interested in learning more about is franchising right for them, how to get in touch with you.
Sure. So everything from my social media is at Milestone Franchising. and all, whatever social media you've got, you can find me there, except TikTok. I haven't gone onto TikTok yet, but that's where you can find me. And, you don't pay anything. It's a great way to explore this world and have a little bit of fun, get some great insight, but feel 100% that that whatever you decide, it was the right path when you're working with me.
I love it so much. And I definitely am going to talk to this lady and see if she'd like to have a conversation with you. So thank you so much, Lisa, for your time. You rock. And I look forward to seeing you later in the year. We'll be right back with my final thoughts. Yes, get your copy today at showuptoblowup.com. That's going to take you right to Amazon where you can order Show Up, Be Up, Follow Up to Blow Up. If you're not a part of my Facebook community, the Six Figure Network, join that community because we are there talking marketing strategies, the hardest part of being a business owner. And so get in there and let's work together. I'm so grateful that Lisa came on. I want to encourage those of you who are thinking about business ownership, those of you who want to add another business, a complementary business to what you already have, like me, teaching people how to network in drastic results, and NIA giving them a place to network, to reach out to Lisa, a franchise consultant who can help you to be able to figure out if franchising truly is the right fit for you. Don't forget, sharing is caring. So share the show. Tell your friends they should connect with me, follow me. And if any of you are interested in being a guest, hit me up in my DMs on your favorite platform, except for TikTok, because I'm not there either, Lisa. This is Tony Harris Taylor saying, take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow, and we'll see you next week. Bye.